The question that I'm left hanging with at the end of this amazingly fabulous conference is, how do we pivot from proof of concept for the coalition to affecting systemic change and long-lasting impact? And so I mentioned before this statement, which just keeps coming to my mind. This statement was adopted by the AAAS board 2 years ago, and I'll read it. It's brief. We have posters available of it online that you can download and put in your offices, your labs, and so forth. Scientific freedom and scientific responsibility are essential to the advancement of human knowledge for the benefit of all. Scientific freedom is the freedom to engage in scientific inquiry, pursue and apply knowledge, and communicate openly. This freedom is inextricably linked to and must be exercised in accordance with scientific responsibility. Scientific responsibility is the duty to conduct and apply science with integrity in the interest of humanity, in a spirit of stewardship for the environment, and with respect for human rights. This is a statement adopted by the AAAS board 40 years after an important report had been written on these issues, and rather than simply writing another report reflecting on these issues that would invariably change over time, we wanted to adopt a statement that we thought would stand the test of time. But the question is, so where does that leave us? And I think of, if any of you have heard of Simon Sinek, and his approach to leadership, but his approach to how to affect change, he says we should all focus on the why and then the how and the what. That most of us can describe what we do, but not how or why we do it. And so using that framework, I've thought back on this conference, and I apologize that I don't reflect everything that is said, everyone who participated, but they were just some examples that came out to me. So we've talked about what do we need? We need to support students to conduct studies in communities of need. We need to offer labs to conduct reliable studies in underserved communities. We need to provide peer support and training for whistleblowers, provide communities with access to technical information. We need to find out we need to continue working towards implementation of the right to science. That's the what. And there are many, many, many more that we could fill in here. But I start to become more interested in the how and the why that I think can then better articulate for us the what. So how should we be working? We should be serving as translators for communities to decision makers. We need to engage communities, and that was exactly the point that was made in the last question. We need to create relationships and connections, engage stakeholders early and continually. We need to make the work of human rights recognizable as scholarship to support the scientists at all levels of their careers who want to be involved in this work. We need scientific societies to set a human rights agenda for their disciplines so that it's not just ad hoc members of the disciplines that are engaged, so that they truly have the peer support to move this forward in their careers. We need to bring our whole selves to our work, and that was the point that Sam made, and others too. But why should we be in the lab during the day and signing amnesty petitions at night, or doing something even more effective in the evenings? And then the why. This is what's interesting. And I think seeing your responses come out on Mentimeter, where everyone was talking about data, we clearly have a shared commitment to fact, to truth, to evidence, to data. We're solutions-based. We want to achieve impact. We want to answer the tough questions. Methods, approaches, contexts are shared across science and human rights. As much as we have differences, there are also similarities that bind us. And the question was asked, why do we do science anyway? It's because our role as scientists is to actively do public work to make a difference. And so with that, I think about, we don't have a mission as I would really like it for the coalition. And I think we can be the catalyst for science, engineering, and health organizations to connect STEM, by which I include the social sciences, and human rights for the benefit of all. And why? Thinking back to the AAAS statement, because science, engineering, and health organizations have a role and a responsibility to bridge STEM professionals and the human rights community in support of the responsible conduct of science, the rights of scientists, and the human rights of all. These are my preliminary thoughts. I don't claim to have even vetted them with my staff who might be reading this thinking, what is she doing? For which I apologize. But these are just some thoughts. So much more is possible. We have proved the concept, as I said. We've legitimized the role of scientific societies in human rights. We've started to engage science students more effectively and at least show the individuals who've benefited from our awards and so forth that there is a peer community of support with them. We have multiple levers. There may be more. We can bridge, build. We can help coordinate both within the scientific community but across communities as well. And we can assist at least in education and capacity building. And that education and capacity building is needed on both sides, both the scientific side and the human rights side. So these are our levers. How can we use them most effectively to do what I said before? Connect, learn, act, impact. So with that, the coalition, well, this conference comes to an end. I want to thank those who provided financial support for the conference and provided financial support to enable many of the communities, the organizations, the individuals that we heard from who came from much further afield than the United States to share with us their amazing work and their vision and to let us know what we can and should be doing. But thank yous would be totally inappropriate and insufficient if I didn't thank the amazing staff who really put this together. So I think they're all in the room. Yes, fabulous. So could I ask first, I'll ask Jonathan if you could come forward. Jonathan Drake, who was the brain behind the Jonathan was the brains behind the showcase, in addition to many other components of this conference. But thank you very much, Jonathan. Nate Weisenberg. Nate is the newest addition to our team. He joined us 2 months and 3 months? Now 3 months. Time flies. He's so well integrated. It probably feels more like 6 months, possibly to you too. Nate came on board when the rubber was really hitting the road in the preparation for this meeting and just did a fabulous job. Speaking of fabulous jobs, Joel Erickson. Joel is really the one you have to thank for so much. For the food, number one, but for the logistics and everything running smoothly. More smoothly, I mean, we have technical hiccups, but let me tell you, as compared to what you can see here sometimes, this was fabulous. So thank you, Joel. And last but not least, Teresa Harris. Teresa has been the brains behind this operation. I should offer to take these home to everybody. Teresa has really been the brains behind this operation, from having an open call for proposals, which I think created the most rich, textured conversation that we've ever had at one of these meetings, to the way it was also professionally presented with so many features, and just such careful thought given to making sure that the conversation is valuable. It's valuable, hopefully, to those who participated. I certainly learned an awful lot that we were hopefully able to give to the participants, at least through a sense of community. But Teresa has put her heart and soul into this conference, so thank you very much. With that, I thank you all for staying to the end, for your contributions throughout the conference. And there is one hand up in the audience, so yes.
Yeah, I want to thank you personally. I think just as a participant here, I've been overwhelmed by the detail, thoughtfulness, and intellectual commitment you've provided to this conference over months, in which you provide intellectual and scientific and moral leadership. I've been really impressed. So thank you.
Thank you. I really don't want to take much credit. The team I just introduced to you is the one who should be taking the credit, but thank you. I now encourage you all to go out to remind yourselves of what you said that you would do. We can provide a printout, probably, if you can't remember. And if you don't remember, we will be following up with you. For me, it's wonderful to have an experience of this sort of 2.5-day long discussion, meeting people, being energized by others and the amazing work that they're doing. Thank you. But I do not want it to end here. That would be of some value, but that would be insufficient to my mind. So let's go forth, let's work together, and let's really keep this momentum going along the many directions that we identified were needed. So thank you.